Today we're talking about why the mature INFJ continuously improves their extroverted sensing. So extroverted sensing is the last function in the INFJ stack, and we don't have to go really technical on it, but this is all about taking action in the real world. This isn't just about working out or baking or whatever has been taught to you when you read about extroverted sensing in a general sense. It is very particular when it comes to us INFJs and also INTJs because it's our last function. It's a function that we value. It's a function that is part of us and that we need to utilize. And when you become a mature INFJ, meaning you learn how to utilize your own set of strengths, you naturally tend to go into extroverted sensing and continuously improve it. It changed my life completely and has changed the life of all of the INFJs that I've worked with. So we're going to talk today about what you can do to utilize your extroverted sensing in a way that actually improves your life. So it's not just a burden that you keep having to do. Before we get started, remember that if you haven't done this so far, to download the poster on the 5 pillars to an INFJ epic life. And if you say, I'm ready for the next step, I'm ready to invest in myself and really start changing my life altogether, then definitely sign up for the INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp waiting list. The next live round is starting in just a couple of weeks. So make sure you're on that list so you get access to the early bird price and you don't miss when we go live because there's no late admission. All the information you find in the links in the description. We as INFJs are cerebral beings. We know this. This is something you don't have to convince us of. If you look at an INFJ and you have an ESTP next to them, you see it very obviously. The ESTP will do 10 times more things every single day, maybe even more than the INFJ. And in one day, you might even hide it. But if you look at a life in general, you will see that those tendencies will play themselves out. The INFJ will have less social interactions. The INFJ will like to relax more, will like to enjoy leisure time, and will like to contemplate. But as I always say, it's not that one personality type has an advantage over the other one, because the strength of one is the weakness of another and vice versa. Because our biggest strength is our intuition, our biggest strength is our vision, and that we can decide what is going to improve our life. We don't need to do all of the steps. We just need to do the right steps. An ESTP, on the other hand, who has extroverted sensing as their first function, comes from a different place. They have all the power. They have all the energy to do so many things. For them, it's important to hold on to a vision, to have a plan, and to then execute in a particular direction instead of doing all the things all the time and then get lost in it. So both personality types have something they can improve in. And the INFJ has to tap into their extroverted sensing. You don't have to become an ESTP. Not at all. It's not necessary, and it's not even something to strive for. I'm still not doing a lot of things. I still would call myself somebody who's mainly contemplating, who has like a lot of visions, and that is the main reason why I'm succeeding in my path. But I wouldn't be succeeding to that extent that I am now if I wasn't continuously improving my extroverted sensing. I have come to terms that I am limited in that regard somehow, but that I can still improve it, and that I'm just going to make the most out of it, and I'm going to get better at it, because once I do, then I can use all of my visions. I can use my ideas and make them reality. You as an INFJ have been probably in so many situations where you have an idea and you know this would work. I would just have to apply it. I just would have to, use it in the real world. And that's where we stop, because the taking action part is where we have a problem with. This is the place where we all kind of feel stuck. We would love to have somebody on our team who just executes our ideas, but we very often know that's not the case. That's not how it works. Even if we're in a close relationship with somebody with an extroverted sensing, function, still, most of the time, we rather stay back, we observe, we give guidance, but it's not that we're the main person who gives the direction and then somebody executes that exactly the way we want. But you know what? That person does exist. The person who can execute your vision, make it reality, and really improve your life in a way that you probably haven't even thought was possible before. And that person is you. You just have to come to terms that you cannot expect of yourself to do as much as everybody else is doing. You just gotta do the continuous steps that will make your life better. And the best part about it is it does get easier. I can tell you from experience, I can utilize my extroverted sensing so much more. I can take so many more steps in pushing forward my vision in comparison to, let's say, 5 years ago. It's not even funny. And one of the reasons is, of course, because I have optimized my life in such a way that I do have more energy, but I also make sure that I continuously improve this skill of mine. And I see it with all the people that I work with one-on-one. I see it with the people that we work in a group setting and in boot camp. This really makes the biggest difference. So what does that practically mean? As I said, you shouldn't think of extroverted sensing separately, right? You shouldn't think of it as, okay, doing things in the real world that are physical, as in working out or, going for a walk, being in nature, doing any kind of sports. Like, those are the typical things that you hear about when you talk about extroverted sensing. But it's so much more than that, particularly if you apply it to your personality type. So a very good example was a couple of years ago. I remember this. We were hanging out with somebody with a strong extroverted sensing. It was me and my best friend. My best friend is an INFP. And we thought, oh, okay, we would really like to eat a pizza now, but we're sort of like lazy. We rather want to sit down. The person, in that case it was an ISTP, looked at us and said, oh, if I'm hungry, if I want to eat a pizza, I go and get it. I'm not even thinking about it. And see, this little example shows you exactly what is a big difference between somebody who has a strong extroverted sensing and, let's say, somebody who doesn't have a strong extroverted sensing and on top of that doesn't utilize that. So many of our dreams just stay potential because we're not taking action. So extroverted sensing is all about taking action on your vision. Remember, we're not talking about it separately, what it means, extroverted sensing altogether. No, we're talking about it in the context of being an INFJ, of being somebody who has a really strong vision about a future scenario, a way you could live your life, and then using extroverted sensing to making that real. In order to do that, we have to prioritize the things that are important over the things that are urgent. So we definitely have to make a decision what steps we're taking, what things we actually take action in, because we only have a finite amount of energy. And the great thing about this is that the more you take action towards your vision becoming a reality, the easier it becomes to take even more actions, because your reality reflects more and more that vision that you have about yourself. So for me, that meant the more actions I took, the sooner I was able to quit my job. Once I was able to quit my job, I had way more energy that I could then again put into my vision, into my business, into building my family life the way I wanted to. And so I actually make my life easier on myself. And I do this by doing things that at first don't seem like things you would want to do. They do feel uncomfortable. You have to overcome a resistance. But if you take those actions not in order to keep your head above water, like, for example, some dead-end jobs could be, right? Where you push yourself to get up in the morning, to show up to work, and you know there's no way for you to progress at this job whatsoever, but you need to do it in order to be able to pay your bills. You're pushing forward, you're utilizing yourself, you're using the energy that you do have to sort of survive. And we INFJs tend to do this very often if we go from a default state, because we so dislike this function, we so dislike doing these things that we are only doing them if we have to, right? That's the default state. And I've been there. I know that feeling. And that doesn't just apply to your job. That applies to relationships as well. You're much more likely to keep your thoughts and your opinions to yourself because guess what? that also requires extroverted sensing, right? It's in combination with extroverted feeling, but in the end, expressing yourself, standing up for yourself and what is important to you, that requires energy. It requires physical energy. It requires extroverted sensing. And we all know this, that we're in a situation and very often we say, yeah, I'd rather do something else. But the truth is, I just don't feel like it. Like, it seems like so much work. Somebody with a strong extroverted sensing wouldn't feel that way, right? So I know where this is coming from, and like understanding this and accepting this, it's totally fine. I'm not going to pretend I'm a different personality type, that I have more energy, and I'm still very often choosing to not engage in situations that would drain me. But nowadays, I make sure that I proactively use this, although I don't need to, because I know that in the long term, it will make my life easier. If I stand up for the things that are really important for me when I'm with my friends or when somebody crosses my boundary, actually ensures that in the long run, I don't have to do that so often. People understand what I'm about and they are much more likely to go towards the things I want to do than if I continuously just hold myself back and then have to mobilize myself to do things I don't really want to be doing. As I said, similar thing with that job situation. But if you say, I'm going to use the energy that I do have to apply for a better job, and this is going to require of me to take action towards things that are not a necessity. Those are things that are important, not urgent. Nobody's going to come up to you and say, why are you not applying for a new job? Nobody really cares. But you know that if you stay in that current situation, you will always use your strength to survive. Now is the time for you to say, I'm not going to use my strength to just survive. I'm going to use it to thrive. And yes, it will require some more energy on my part to actually put forward into things that are going to make my life better. Like, for example, applying for a better job. But therefore, in the long term, this will create a better working environment, more income, which as a result also gives us more energy. And so it becomes this continuous cycle that just allows you to do more and more things on your terms. But it really starts from you prioritizing the things that are going to push your vision forward. And don't be afraid of the future if that would be the path to go. Because I remember so vividly how afraid I was of starting this sort of lifestyle where I push myself and where I mobilize myself to use even more energy towards something new, because I thought, what kind of life is this? This is like so hard. I remember when I started recording those videos and I mobilized myself, it was always on Sunday mornings that I took time for myself to do this before I went and I had lunch with my family at that time. And I so told myself, this is so hard. Like, how in the world am I supposed to do even more than that? But the truth is, once you start, it becomes easier. So that's why I'm saying the mature INFJ continuously improves their extroverted sensing. This is a skill. You don't have to become a master at it, but you can get better at it, and it can become so much easier. Nowadays, I can just do a couple of videos like this and I continue with my day and it's no big deal. So I can tell you from personal experience and from seeing the INFJs around me that I've coached throughout the years that this is something worth investing in. Invest your time in it, invest your energy into it, and do the things that might not feel like they are the things you want to do right now, that feel easy, but the things that are going to improve your life. Make it actionable. Take steps that are externally observable. Don't stay in a place where it's all about contemplating, getting over inner resistance, working through journaling and all of those things. They're very important, but you're probably already good at them. Use more energy to make things real. Doing this will actually allow you to heal faster, to grow faster, to overcome resistance even more. It's really one of those hidden aspects that most INFJs don't talk about, but that will make the biggest difference in their life. If you say, okay, I'm ready to utilize this, I want to do this, then why not join the INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp, right? Sign up for the waiting list, become part of this group experience where you have all the energy of so many INFJs working together on creating their INFJ Epic Life on their terms. Remember to download the poster as well. You have all the information below. We start in a couple of weeks only when it comes to the bootcamp, so make sure you're on that list. You know when things are starting. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video Why the INFJ Ages in Reverse.